You know, that was supposed to loop, but whatever. Um, we're shooting from the hip today. I'm low on coffee. I'm doing a coffee purge. So, anyways, I have Marv Villaflores. We have a couple mutual friends, and actually, here's the fun part. I don't ever get to interview Alaskans because, like, what people don't understand up here is there's FMA here. Like, I've been here for 15 years, but there's also more FMA up here. And with a population of less than a million people, like, go figure. But you would also figure with a lot of Filipinos and a lot of Samoans up here, and this being a major military hub, that there'd be some FMA. But here we are. I digress. Anyways, I'm going to bring on Marv. He's going to tell a story. We're going to kick it for a little while on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon, evening, whatever. So let's get this started. Anyways, what's up, homie?
Let's do what's going on, man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, we were talking earlier about getting smashed by our mutual love of smashing people. So,
Hey.
for a lot of people who don't know, we have a couple of mutual friends and fellow
Yeah, yeah,
instructors.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I'll let you introduce that, and then while I share this out for a little bit.
Yeah. We have a couple mutual friends, and a couple of jujitsu instructors together. So like I said, a couple of friends and kind of run the same circles that we never got in touch with, and now it's a good time. So a little bit about my background. Like I said, 8 years in the Marine Corps, did some combative skills up there. Did some Kajukembo for about like I was stationed there for good almost 8 years. I was 10, no, 10 years to 8 to 10 years, and then kind of go from there. Did some PTK, Pekiti Tirsia, Kali with them, and then went to Japan, did some jiu-jitsu over there, and started jiu-jitsu here in Anchorage in 2016. So, and then ever since then, just kind of on and off with family, school life, the journey of being a martial artist, and kind of going from there, understanding life and understanding who you are as a artist and a martial athlete. So that's kind of who I am, and understanding who I am, and find the right path. So that's it for me.
Okay, so that was shorter. Then let's go back up. Let's back up way a bit because
Yes, sir.
this podcast is way more than just talking about one's FMA daddy and comparing one's FMA stick to another.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I'm not about that. Yeah, yeah.
I'm all about like the people who make up FMA because I talk about this all
Huge.
the time. If you're an FMA, you should know your history, and if
Mm,
not, there's plenty of resources out there. However,
yeah,
every FMA as of current is adding to that wonderful tapestry that is our community as and
correct.
adding all their own beauty to it. So with that, let's celebrate who those people are today. And way we do that is let them tell their stories. So let's go further back. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Oh, oh, okay. So I grew up in Anchorage. Did my time here. Like I went to school here, and like a big Filipino community here. They instilled kind of the same thing that you had, like Filipino background, sense of culture, sense of gathering, and we had like Christmas parties, food everywhere. This lumpia rice was like a thing, like just had to eat, And then high school here, an average athlete, nothing too crazy. Then in 2007, joined the Marine Corps, and so ever since then, that changed my perspective on life. That was a big shock. Like,
Mm.
holy crap, what did I just do to my life? I just went from family of this, and cousins of this, Christmases and presents, and through someone just yelling at me and going on like this is crazy. Why did I do this? The first day I'm just like, I'm in a room full of 90 people and I don't even know these kids. And you adjust, and then got to my unit, and I was a little nerdy kid, and I met some Guamanians there, and we kind of started training. They introduced me to jujitsu.
Mm.
Introduced to they We had to do a Marine Corps martial arts program, so I was enrolled in that. And then just kind of it evolved to not just fighting, but it involved of like something different. It changed my perspective and like who I am, and like fighting. I always tell people fighting keeps you alive, right? And going through all those trainings and going through that, but like fighting with the people I was with, man, like there's nothing like getting punched in the face. I don't know how do I explain that, but there's some psychological thread in your mind doing jujitsu, doing judo, or some type of psychological thing, you wanting to do that more the next day.
Mm.
Like, I just got choked or I just got thrown and I want to do it again. Like the next day.
So fighters and martial artists are a little wired weird, but it is what
Yeah.
it is.
It's like, man, like I know after like I remember after a hard sparring, my buddy's a Taekwondo champion, right? He's from Seattle. Shout out to Frankie, Chingina over there. Like he's in Washington, but he's a third degree Taekwondo champion, and he was with Marine Corps martial arts with me, and he taught me like a lot of the stuff about like perspective of fighting, and not just on the mats but off the mats, right? So he kind of told me about that, but like, man, he cooked me in the ribs so bad I went to the hospital. But he's like, well, that's what happens. Like, it wasn't intentional, but he could have did worse. But he was like, he told me, he's like, hey, man, like, I could have did worse, but so like he kind of opened my eye, and he was there the whole time, and so he wasn't trying to kill me or anything, but it's just knowing the fact he was there after he was gave me food, he bought me spam, and like we're laughing, joking, and I was laughing so hard that the spam can on my and so it's that camaraderie, like, yeah, he did that to me, but like I wasn't angry at him because like the next month I went to see him again. We trained and went to the combatives program, Marine combatives program, and we killed it. And so like, and finding that tribe wherever you go, wherever you're stationed, is a thing. I think wherever you get to PCS or move to a different state or country, I think finding your tribe is the biggest. I think it's just and depending on what it is, right? If it doesn't have to be fighting, doesn't have to be FMA, doesn't have to be, but whatever it is, just find the tribe because that gives you a sense of belonging. And when people don't have that belonging, I think it puts you in a weird spot. So
Totally. Yes, I totally agree with you. So,
yeah,
speaking as a Army veteran to
yeah.
my beloved Marine Corps
Hey,
veteran
bro.
friends, yeah,
Hey.
that's right. So, just to razz a bit, what's your favorite flavor of crayon?
I'm gonna say strawberry red.
There we go. There we go.
Strawberry
For
red.
those who,
It's the best. It's Kool-Aid.
the consistency and all those things. But yeah. So, Marine Corps.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you mentioned a little bit, but like, what really inspired you to go into the Corps comparatively to
Um,
any other branch of military? Because Anchorage, I mean, we got Air Force and we got Army, but
yeah.
there's not a lot of Marines up there. There's not a lot of
No,
Navy.
no. I think what really got to me. So I did ROTC at West, and I was a big Air Force bubba. I
Hmm.
did like I was in high school, and then like went to a Catholic private school. Went to two schools. I did West in the morning and did my ROTC with the West, and then I was so motivated to do that. And then I would go to my private school. So because like Filipinos, they like private school in the Philippines, so they try to implement that. Not a big deal. So I think what really was it when he was like, you can be a trendsetter in your family. You could be the only Marine. I was like, I don't want to be a trendsetter. I just want to be this. So when he told me, like, hey, if you do this, you will create footsteps in your like. When he said something about lineage, oh man, I just it it got me. Like, hey, you will create your own lineage when you do this. You will set above everyone else. I was like, and I was like 18. He got me with that. I was like, hey, is there gonna be dragons? Like, you will slay a dragon. I was like, so I got to boot camp. I was like, there are no dragons here. Where are the dragons at? I, I don't know that. I didn't see any dragons. I was lied to.
Oh
But
man, that recruiting video back in the early 2000s, the Marine slaying the dragon
yeah,
with his blues,
he's like,
iconic.
yeah.
Yes.
So, but like the lineage portion was the biggest. It's like you out of your family, you be the you create your first step will create waves, and it did. It did. My brother did with my cousin, and now, and then it just kind of created a whole impact of people who joined in my family. So a lot of my family's military. So like when I joined, my cousin joined, my brother joined, my cousin joined the Marine Corps, my brother joined the Marine Corps. He was a scout sniper, got out. So it started a ripple effect later down on in life, and then my niece joined the National Guard. So it showed them a little bit of this. So I was like, it didn't have the effects right away, but knowing the fact when I got out, it showed the ripples down the line. Like, man, I wouldn't have changed the world. Whatever that happened. Like, if someone told me I wanted to change in the past, I'd be like, I would do it 5 times over again in the exact same spot, exact same ways, because it made me who I am, and it brought me to my daughter, it brought me to my wife. But like the lineage is, I think that creating that lineage is huge.
I mean, it's I bring it up in the show all the time, and just my own musings and writings in academia about epigenetics, generational trauma. What's the
Mm,
initiating point behind that? The ripple effect, as you brought up.
yeah.
What's interesting in the inverse, which is the positive side of that, is the positive effect of making a good choice that has the
Mm,
impact moving forward. So you're creating, like you said, creating a legacy,
yeah.
being that initiating point for change,
Yep.
and taking the courage and the leadership to step forth and branch out beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And because you could have just been Joe Schmo hanging out on the block, or you
Yeah.
could have just gone off to the Marine Corps and done things that Marines do, especially during the time of war. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, thank you, man. Like I said, a federal veteran, like talking about, especially being another Filipino, and a lot of people don't talk about this. Service members and martial arts, and a lot of people, especially in Alaska, don't dabble in these type of topics. So, like, thank you for inviting me, even exploring these topics, because like I said, these are topics that people just decide to put their topics in their pocket, and or just taboo, right? It's like, hey, why? Or hey, you're a Filipino American, why are you doing this? What you just, how about you just be a doctor? I'm like, well, I don't want to be a doctor. Like, there's a cookie cutter things for us. I know that's in the past, right? But just yeah, appreciate you inviting me, and like I said, breaking that mold. And that's what Joe Coy says, right? Break that mold. So
Right, brother. Right. So just we'll go a little bit on your military career, then we'll actually talk about some FMA because this is an
yeah.
FMA show of sorts. So
Let's do it, man.
any deployments? You
Yeah, yeah,
mentioned Japan for stationing.
yeah. Went to Iraq, and went to Iraq a couple times, and then I went to Guam, Korea. I went to Guam, Korea. I went to Diego Garcia. It's the old CIA base. I went to, and then Okinawa. So stayed there for a minute. Okinawa is so Japan and Okinawa. They're huge difference. I know they're Japanese, but you can't call Japanese Okinawans, and you can't call Okinawans Japanese. It's a huge disrespect. Like, man, I did that my first day. I was like, well, I got this. I learned that the hard way. Like, all right, I am not doing that. So, but culture is huge, and I think understanding cultures, and outside of the U.S. is huge too. But I think that opened my eyes traveling, and then coming back to the U.S. It was another culture shock. Like, I would just people in general. Like an example, you would go to the gas station and people would fill your gas tank for you, and you would bow to them. My coming back to the United States, I would bow to the cashier clerk in America. So it's like, oh, okay, he's not bowing back. It's like he's not gonna bow back. I think that's a good idea. So just so little micro, I would say just like in jujitsu and FMA, you think micro movements, right? Like that was my I was like, oh, that's a micro movement I shouldn't be doing. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of the biggest thing is traveling, and but I came back and like started a family and everything, and yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, like I said, we can go back as a rabbit hole, but anyways, for FMA,
Yep.
uh,
Said it.
you're what? There's a couple ways that people come by way of FMA in the FMA community, especially if they're part of the Phil Canadian, whatever, as I call the
Yeah.
FITM. Um,
The film. That's cool.
the FITM, the longest thing that have come up for my master's program is the Phil Am Diaspora Phil Am Diaspora Indigipino Decolonization Mindset.
Whoa.
It's a really, really long concept, and but it covers all of the things that we're dealing with multiple identities
Yeah.
as non-white Americans. So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially dealing with decolonization from Spain, trying to figure out who we are
Yeah,
and all those things.
that's
So yeah,
huge.
I wrap it up as that acronym as the FITM. So with that as the FITM, for a lot of people coming into the Filipino martial arts who are also ethnically tied as Filipinos, a lot
Hmm.
of them don't realize that we actually have our own indigenous fighting tradition, let
Yeah.
alone a long-standing one that is so high caliber and utilized by a whole wide variety of things. And
Yeah.
so with that, like they see things like karate and taekwondo and jujitsu and judo. It's all based upon what's available. But for you, how were you first introduced to FMA and by whom? And you're frozen. Marvin's frozen. We're gonna take a quick pause here. When he comes back, here, let's talk about a few things that is coming up. So, Dr. Kelly Warden, we're not. I'm going to edit this out, but since we're all hanging out here live and Marvin's all kind of like froze out on here, Dr. Kelly Warden has his last annual Water and Steel camp coming up here. Let me bring up that it's live. It's going on actually next week. And let me pull up that real quick while Marv comes back. Anyways, he'll come back in. So, Dr. Kelly Warden's annual Water and Steel Camp next week. Actually, I'll be flying out with Cooper here on Thursday. So, we'll be back down there for that. This is the last camp that he's doing. He's been at it for 45 years. He deserves to be the old man sipping tea. And yeah, it's been a great experience the past few years. I've been part of that tribe. But if you're in the Pac Northwest, or if you've got some air miles, definitely go sign up and participate in this historic event. Also, let's see what else we got going on here while we're waiting. Let's see. GM Bobby. GM Bobby also actually it's this weekend and I'm going to miss it. He has his West Coast camp, Pacific Northwest camp. So here we are. Okay, well, this is talking about World Camp, but anyways, GM Bobby's got a the Pacific Northwest annual camp. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss it because just timing and otherwise. But yeah, see what other business have we got going on here. So, anyways, for anyone who has been following the podcast, I really appreciate you. We're going through a bit of a change as to like my approach to doing this, but it's good stuff. I'm moving toward more pre-recorded episodes, and because it's cleaner, it's easier, and like the time differences that I run into being up here in Alaska has been kind of tricky. So, anyways, let me bring Marvin back on, and we'll get this started up again. What's up, dude?
Yeah. Sorry, man. That was weird. That we just all of us lost satellite here on base. So
Eh,
awkward, but it
eh,
was all good, man.
it happens. I can spitball and make it work. So we were talking about FMA and how you got
Yeah.
involved with it and who introduced it to you and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, his name is Nerison Babao, under the late great Nar Babao. Nar Babao was a great pioneer in San Diego. He did the first double stick. So his son Narison and his brother and his son Chris were friends of mine when I was stationed in San Diego. And I was like, hey, there's a guy who they're teaching Babao Arnis under Villabro Kali, Kako Cañete. That's their style. So I was like, hey, I was thinking, and I reached out to him. I was like, hey, you have any PTK specifically? He's like, yeah. So my buddy Domingo, he has and late great Lauren Harris. He's really well known back in the early '70s and '80s. He passed away in the early 2000s. But I met all his students. And then Domingo took me under his wing, and we trained 4 or 5 times a week. I would say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we do it old school way. We do it there's no dojo. There was just like we went in the garage. We had gis. We'd do 2 days Kajukembo, 2 days Arnis, and we would just hang out, eat, he'd invite people from different schools. Would go to and just shared like the mentee mentorship, and go through life, and then we would do, just like someone's uki. I'd be Zuki, and new students would come and go, and so ever since then, that maintainship we still have as friends and mentors, and I still talk to him today. I just literally just texted him like 2 days ago. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be on this. Is it okay if I give you a shout out?" And he says, like, "Yeah." So, and like I said, that's my kind of lineage. Nerison Babao, Nar Babao. So, like I said, that's my kind of channel, you would say, lineage, but it's mostly under the late great Ron Harris on the PTK, and then it's a really old school way of teaching PTK, right? It's like Dos Methodos way. So that's kind of like that way they taught me. Um, but yeah, that's kind of it. And I'm open to explore certain things too. FMA to me, it's all about expression and how you do it and way you do it. And as long as it's not like hey, this will happen. There's an ultimate end. Like no, it's always the open ending. There's always something happening. There's always do this. So always be a student of learning in life. And I think the FMA. And a lot of people don't know FMA is always constantly learning, right? It's just there's things that you can learn, and the Filipinos have their own kicking art, grappling art. People don't know we have our own striking art. We have our own grappling art. Like it's just not not emphasized. Like Dumog
Yeah,
is a wrestling art or grappling art that we have, right? Yao Yan is a similar to Muay Thai that we have. It's ours, right? So it's like a lot of people just don't know that. Like so, like I said, FMA is huge in my life, and uh, there's more to it than just sticks and knives, right? There's the culture behind it. There's why we do it. Um, when I was with my buddy Nar, we had to learn the Orashon. The Orashon's like the warrior prayer back in the day. We had to learn that. We had to memorize that. Um, and so he would give us tests and stuff like that, and save my buddy. And so really the old, like I said, as I would say, really old OG fashion, right? But yeah, and sometimes we would get drunk. Like he would get me drunk, and we would like play knives. Like it's like these are your techniques real good. You would get it drunk. I was like, okay, cool. Sometimes I get in trouble, and like over the weekend or get into like a barracks party, I do Kajukembo on a board. My buddy's like, I'm so sorry, So like I said, just natural. It just comes to natural. But yeah, that's kind of my background on that. But yeah,
that's cool. So like Kajukembo, for the history of people, I mean, Kajukembo is a Hawaiian developed martial art over like a lot of recent developed martial arts. It's less than 100 years old, but they took basically the best of the best that they could find around the islands and distilled down what really works, and they saw a lot and made it into its own codified system. And so for a
right.
lot of people who are new to martial arts, let alone the term Kajukembo. Kajukembo also has a lot of FMA influence because there's a lot of Filipinos in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So there's a direct translation. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the name itself is Ka for karate, Ju for jujitsu, Bo for boxing, and then
Mhm.
so the name has a breakdown itself. Like it's named for about five certain people, but like I said, that's and a lot of people don't understand that. And it's like not underrated, but it's just not presented a lot. Just like Sandata. Sandata is a Chinese striking martial art I don't know about. So I love learning about other martial arts and other cultures and how they presented because in our culture it's like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, yeah, because tinikling is a form of dance, but yet they used to put blades on their ankles. Like, whoa, like it's the same motion. The motion's there, but it's hidden through dance. I love that stuff, man. And but yeah, so
So okay, so it was based upon availability. You had McMahon there, obviously with the core.
yeah, yeah,
Um, what other martial arts? I mean, actually, I'm just alluding to. So we're both grapplers. We both have a judo and
yeah, yeah,
jujitsu background. We
yeah, yeah, yeah.
share
Cool.
we share the same professor. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
got you into
Jordan Contra.
jujitsu? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, jiu-jitsu. Yeah, Jordan Contra got my blue belt from him. Awesome guy, man. Nothing but praise for him. He opened up a school here, South Side, and I think holds fast up in Homer. So, like I said, he's a good dude, man. I just been training when I can. I'll just get training with open mats when I can. Balancing school, work, life, martial arts, and like I said, sometimes I can't get to open mat. I'll just get a couple rolls here and there when I can, or I have like a stick dummy at the house, and I'll practice my sets. Like, okay, hey, my counters off the counters, and I know it's look. weird when I'm doing it by myself, and I'm just like, okay. My wife's like, "What are you doing to your Bob doll?" I was like, "Hey, relax, relax, relax." Like, you just watch your Grey's Anatomy. But and so she has a couple of my sticks, and she's like, playing with the kiddo and doing hopscotch with it. I'm like, okay, yeah. Uh, but I think that the FMA overall, it's just embedded in my system, and just not just the motion. It's like, okay, do this. I think like picking up socks or picking up things with my feet. Like, okay, this is a thing. Oh, okay. So that is how you block. Like, I use that daily. Like, okay, I'm gonna do like, okay, cool. I'm gonna use that motion to block a kick, or like, hey. So everything I do, it's not just through FMA. It's like, okay, cool. Like, just using that motion or that fluidity in the FMA in anything I try to do, especially being a dad too. It's just like, okay. So I try to incorporate it as much as I can, knowing the fact that I don't have the accessibility to do it every day. So I try to imply it every day when I can. Just like the sombrada drill with my kid. She doesn't know it's sombrada, but she thinks it's fun. But it's a shadow drill I'm using with my hands. So it's like, oh, daddy, let's do it again. Okay, let's do it. And I'm not really hitting her, but I'm just like using the 3 count on her head and hips. And she's like, oh, she thinks it's playing tag, but I'm actually training myself a sombrada.
The
So it's like,
gamification. Yep.
yeah. So same with my wife, and I'll like same with her. I was like, hey, if you do this drill with me, we get to go to Target.
Nice.
If you do this break in, break out drill, we can go get some ice cream. It's like, okay. It's like, if you do it for 2 minutes, we can so I just something like that. And so it keeps my mind sharp with my FMA skills, and then and then just also watching like my instructor, you know, through video, talking to him, and just kind of talking about this, talking about that, and just like I said, corporate overall when I can. And also teaching, like people say, teaching is learning twice. So if you could teach it, and you can teach, that person can teach it also. You know that free teaching is knowledgeable. So when someone told me, real leaders make leaders. So same, So when we say with students, like you have a good student, he can teach it, and that person can teach it, and that person can teach it. And I was like, oh wow, so that's what got me when I was working with Domingo. It's like, if you can teach it thoroughly, he can teach it, and it goes down the line, and then it's remembered and embraced. I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. So I don't know, that kind of got to me when I watched those Escrima videos, like, because like the bladed hand, and like Escrimador. That's knowledge that these grandmasters have that we never have access to, and it's gone.
Yep, that ripple effect, but eventually that ripple is going to terminate when it hits the edge. This is why we got
Yeah.
to keep throwing rocks in it. And actually, this is the reason why it's so important to document one's journey. These
Yes.
podcasts are really important for documenting the history, because a lot of it's been lost, and a lot of it's also just been lost to obscurity and just brought up as just falsehoods and misleading truths. So, yeah,
Yeah.
having this out there as a discussion is really important. Um, yeah, and also it's inspiring to see where an individual comes from and what they do with it and how they're moving forward with it. Because again, like in the case of Alaska, the FMA community here in Alaska is like 5 of us. At least that's what I've been tracking.
Yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of us because it's not really marketed well in Alaska, especially in the Philam community in Alaska. There's in Anchorage, I think there's a Philam community here. It's huge. They do like every June 12th, Independence Day. They do like a whole fiesta here, and I know the marketers. I know the aunties. They're like, "Hey, Marvin, you want to display some of this stuff?" I'm like, if I had people to want to display with me, like I would love to, but it's just not marketed well. Unlike BJJ or Kung Fu Karate, or it's just the way it's marketed in Alaska. It's unlike California, Texas, Hawaii, Utah. It's not as marketed well here, and um, yeah,
I mean, what I've been tracking over the years. So there's me down here in Homer. There's Virgil Navarez down here in Homer, who's a Sarada guy.
Mm.
There's Dr. Chester Hugh, who's up
Yeah.
in Anchorage, but he's bouncing back and forth. He is my senior in Balintawak.
Yeah.
I think he's a COA now.
Mm.
There's Jason Nardi in Juneau, and he's a
Yeah. Two
PTK.
ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's you, and
Mm.
there's another guy. But I've lost track. I can't remember his name, but I've lost track
Yeah.
of
There
him.
was another guy here. I went to him. He is a PTK guy under what's his name? Jason. It's he just went online. The PTK University. What's the guy's name? Tuhon something. I forgot. They
I mean,
do it
there's Jared.
online. Joe
There's
Wangi.
Jared
Yeah, there we go.
Wahangi.
Yeah,
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 he's
yeah.
one of
So there's a
his.
student. There's a student here under Jared Wahangi, and they do PTK here under. So I checked him out. I forgot his name, but I checked this class out. It's FMA for sure, but like it's just an introduction. It's awesome. It's good stuff. Um, and like I said, I think he's one, but like the community is just it's not really presented well enough here. Like, and the bladed art, like sticks, open hands. It's just And when I tell people about it, like, is that kung fu? I was like, yeah, it's kung fu. Yeah, sure. Like it's kind of hard to explain. Like the Filipinos have our own art. We have our own kicking art. We have our own grappling
Hmm.
art. We have a whole package. Like people are like, no, you don't. You have Manny Pacquiao. I was like, oh, no, we don't. I just have Manny Pacquiao. Like
He
we have
got
yeah.
robbed. He got robbed.
we have Yao Yan. Yao Yan is people that's equivalent to Muay Thai. Like that has so it's just there's things that Filipino culture has not been explored yet. Like, and even just in FMA, there are other things that I'm passionate about with FMA. It's like the culture behind FMA. The unthing and thing, like the special war amulets they would wear. That the warriors would wear. Like, man, that's historic. And to me, that's like, man, that's all super cool. Just little things like that. Like, oh, they would do that. Just little things like that, man. And but I'm pretty passionate about. But no, there's no one here to talk about it or learn about it or like or why do this. And it's just like, Marvin, I think you're crazy. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, I mean, since we're here and since we're in the same state and we're only for like a
And,
4 hour difference, what are some of the ways that we could problem solve like a larger FMA
oh, okay,
conversation and network here in the community? Because like I said, I've been here for 15 years and the community is really small. And like
yeah,
outside of my own students, like I said, I've listed the instructors that I did, but again, time, distance, and availability makes
mhm,
things very limited. Not to mention like the Phil Am community in Alaska. I mean, is up there in
yeah,
Kodiak. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, So to make a huger impact, and I always do it by you go 5 meter targets, right? So use an epicenter as an earthquake, right? I always say where do you want to make that epicenter first, and then we can make the way from there. Either we want to do it, we do it Homer, or we could do it here. We could combine it. We could do it me and you, right? So the epicenter can be both, right? So knowing the fact of how I think is when is the next big event, and then we can go from there. Or how do we gather that? And how do we showcase this to the world in our local state, right? What we know, how can we show that to people, right? I think it's the next big event. The state fair is huge. We have, like I said, every January they have fiestas here. So those things we can capitalize on. And like, okay, hey, like I said, every June 12th they have Filipino fiesta, and that's 2 days. And going there and like performing a demo, hey, of just sticks or knives, hey, an open hand, this. And so that's what we would do. And when I was in California, we would do demos, a choreographed fight demo, right? It looked real. We would use live knife, and someone would be commenting, be like, okay, hey, Filipino martial arts have been around since da 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 da, and this style, there are multiple styles. We'll be using emphasis on this. He da 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 da, and an example will be this. Someone will be commenting, you do the demo, but someone will be, just over exaggerate the movement. He disarmed, da 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 da. So demoing is huge, and like visual learning is huge because a lot of people visual learn. But we can use those big events and come together there and be like, hey, uh, uh, and then going from there. I think that's the first step is the impact. How can we make an impact? And I think me and you can do it. And just having those big events, and just the only thing is attracting people. That's going to be the key, right? Everyone knows MMA, right? Some people told me, do you do UFC? I was like, like, like my uncle came over the other night and he saw my gi and like stuff and like I think I opened mat I think on base or something like that, and I like, and it's just like there, and he's hanging out eating whatever, and he's like, hey Mar, you UFC? I was like, what's UFC? I'm not an alphabet uncle. I was like, no. And it's like, oh my god. So it's just, I think and it's just funny, but I think the MMA is huge because they market it right. UFC one, I think, like I said, FMA has to be in that weight market and the way they do it, especially in Alaska. It's just like they use those big events,
Well, I
piggyback
mean,
events.
I totally, I guess, missed my fighting calling with missing Wigo Toto, because like when I was fighting, my last fight here in Alaska was 2018.
Sweet.
But with that, like I ran a fight promotion here on the peninsula, and I was always trying to get FMA into the promotion, either a demo or doing a full on stick fighting or just something, but I couldn't find any takers. And
it's hard. Yeah.
Plus, it's difficult. But like things like Wigo Toto, that would be an ideal thing. I would love to see like a Wigo Toto match at AFC. For people who don't know, that's the Alaska Fighting Championship, which is the filler fight promotion for UFC. But yeah, that'd be really cool. So
yeah,
we got to talk to Billy Christensen basically to make that happen.
Yeah, Billy. So. Yeah, talk to Billy. Yeah, the whole Toto, I think, is popping up again in Cebu. Is they're bringing it up again. So if you don't know who Toto is, like Battle of the Death Match, and that's stick fighting. They would say death matches, right? So if people don't know, so but yeah, no man, that would be cool to bring it up, but that'd be awesome, man. I'm just thinking about it, like that kind of sparked my mind a little bit. Like, man, that'd be cool to do that here in Alaska, And then Dog Brothers is a huge thing in Lower 48 too, and did that for a while, and that hurts. I don't like that. I like adrenaline hits, and then just like, this is worse than MMA. This is worse than jiu-jitsu. Why did I do this?
Higher consciousness through higher levels of pain, as they say it. Through higher contact. That's the word.
Yeah, it was fun. It was great, and but now it's just, I think that, like I said, martial arts brings people together and inspiring people, and it's huge for me. It's just, I think that's all I knew. So knowing the fact when I got out of the military was the biggest thing. What do I rely to? What's my foundation block when I got out of the military? So it's just like, I don't know who to be, who I am. So I turned to martial arts, FMA. I turned to something that was familiar. And
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, there's a direct. I mean, again, we're dealing with tribal learning sets. We're dealing with a military tradition, both Filipino martial arts in general, directly ties to military training and vice versa. So a lot of the culture associated with, again, the tribal nature, a patrilineal learning structure, society that's built on shared suffering, but also through the success of that. I mean, all those things are really important because, again, like a lot of veterans, we are lost. We often tend to be lost when we get out, and because, again, we're not taught how to transition very well. And of course, you add layers of combat and PTS and all those other things. I think that makes it very difficult. Like you said, you come back changed. And so trying to find a familiar community that's positive, that has that camaraderie, that shared suffering with purpose for the higher level of capability and compassion, that's important. But we also find there's some very toxic people in said combatives martial arts community. So like finding that right tribe. Finding that right tribe is super crucial. It's super important.
Huge.
And so with that, again, we're part of the same like gym federation because we both share Professor Jordan Contra
Yeah,
as our black belt professor. So I
good
haven't
dude,
made it
man.
up the
Yeah.
south side yet because I need to go to Anchorage more often.
Hey, yeah,
But
man.
um, the culture of jujitsu up there, can you
Mhm.
describe it there in Anchorage and more specific to south side? And then we'll get into a topic about FMA and jujitsu.
So there is Legacy. So I start off with Legacy, and like I said, I go when I can. Legacy's open. ABJJ, AGA, Southside. And there are other schools like Crazy Monkey is another one too. So people don't know about that. So there are hidden gems here. So shout out to Jason, awesome dude. All writer, awesome people. Anyone at AGA, like I said, all the schools are great. They do great things. But they do have a state tournament once a year. They do gi no gi. So it really depends on what you're looking for, right? So I always tell people when you start off jujitsu, what are you looking for? I want to lose weight. Fitness, awesome. Okay, is this self defense? Because in jujitsu, there's three categories: gi, no gi, MMA, right? Self defense. You got to choose one of the four, right? You want to gi, you want to it. So it really depends on what's your flavor of jujitsu. I always say there's subdivisions of any martial art, right? So jujitsu, there's no gi, there's gi, and then there's MMA, right? So, and then under that, there's certain styles, right? So under Nogi, there's 10th Planet. There's you have that Nogi system, you have the Mike Mishieshi system, you have the Gordon Ryan system, like Dan Danaher. Like they all have their own kind of a subset. I say trees or genres. It really depends on what the person's really wanting, but that tribe of wanting to be around people of the higher like belonging, I think that's the biggest is for me was because like I said, but that's to me that's the culture in Alaska in jiu-jitsu. It's like they do once a year, twice a year, gi no gi, everyone comes together, and then but and that's kind of the competition, right? But it's great. Like, it's good to get on the mat. Everyone deserves to compete twice or once. But like I said, all schools are great, man. No, I'm not gonna talk bad about no school because, like I said, they offer, I would say, combat therapy to anyone that goes through those doors. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to step on foot on a jiu-jitsu mat, specifically. Like I think even some people get unexpected when they roll, and what they cannot do. So when you mentally have that one foot in that door, you're ready. Like, man, it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of effort, time, and space to even walk through a jiu-jitsu door, or even roll, or even go through a technique. Not even roll, even get on the ground, even get close to people. I think in society nowadays we don't do that. We don't have the physical contact with a lot of people. Hugging, handshakes nowadays is Tinder, right? How do you meet people is through Tinder, right? Physical apps, right? We don't shake hands anymore. Um, um, and some people don't shake hands. Some people just meet through this, and they usually just go on their phones, right? So I'm on my phone now, but in a sense of that, like I see it all the time when people don't have situational awareness. They don't. Hey, man, how you doing? Let's go do this. So it's just like I said, man. Jiu-jitsu is a great thing. It can help a lot of people. So
So tell me a Matt story. Tell me two Matt stories. Tell me your favorite thing that you've done in jujitsu and your least favorite thing to do in
oh
jujitsu.
man.
And then
Oh
actually let's add a
man.
third part. And how does
Oh,
that tie into FMA?
uh, so I think I have a lot. I have a lot of match stores. Jordan knows this. Jordan seen me grow up. 2016, I first got there, right? So he opened up Legacy, and he split from Legacy, but he helped me a lot. So I remember we were competing, and we were cutting weight. I think a lot of people remember this. And so I would come in with fresh hot lumpia, like trays of lumpia, and everyone would hate me. Everyone hated me. Everyone hated me. I'm like, Marv, how dare you? And then so Jordan's teaching, right? He's teaching class. And next thing you know, half the class gets up and starts like, yeah, professor, got it. And just eating lumpia and just go back and just, yeah. And then, so next thing you know, we all, like, my buddies was fighting the next. like 2 days. He's like, Marvin, I didn't make weight. I was like, well, y'all shouldn't eat the lumpia then. We start rolling, and we start laughing, and Jordan just laughing at me. He was like, well, yeah, he's right. So, um, and I always bring lumpia. Everyone knows, like man, like even on bad days, like I'm bringing lumpia. Like they just ask, hey, Mom, where's lumpia? I'm like, hey, Jordan wants lumpia. He's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Also, I used to bring in puzzles for Jordan too, like Rubik's cubes and stuff like that. And I always try to make jujitsu fun for adults because everything is just things just it's so hard on people mentally, right? Like and when I'm rolling, I crack jokes like knock knock, like what like I crack jokes. I'm rolling, like I laugh. I say random words like chicken nuggets or like Powerpuff Girls, like squirrel, like it's just because it's just everyone's in a so intense mood to do the next sweep or do the next submission. I got this guy, I got that. People don't think about why you there. You're not there for the submission. You're there to have fun. Like, why are you there? Like, are you there just to smash people or to do an armbar on the next guy, or are you there to have fun to 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 help someone who's on the down the next day, or are you there because like so really I always try to make things fun because when it's fun no one thinks about the problems, so
Well,
I was trying to
if you really think about it, so like, okay, military training,
yeah
especially infantry training.
yeah
Okay,
yeah
there is only so much screaming and hollering at you about if you don't get this right, private, somebody's gonna fucking die. There's only so much of that settles
yes
in, and a lot of people think that is the norm. That is the thing. It's always a
yeah
thing. It's like
yeah
no, you can have some levity. Most of the time, they're backing off anyways. That's just
yeah
a shock and awe approach. So what it helps the humor helps you get
yes
through all that suffering. So just in
yeah
case, like on the mat, every gym needs that 40-year-old shit talking dad who's basically the cheerleader. And I feel up there, you and Booker are basically that. So
Booker's my dude, man.
I
Man,
love
coffee
Booker.
boss,
I
man.
love him.
Coffee boss, man. Well, yeah, man. I remember Booker too. Like he would always crack jokes, and it just yeah, just always laughing because smiling is infectious, right? Laughing and joking around is infectious, man. We always laugh around, and even like I said, if I go to an open mat at Legacy, an open mat at GA, like I don't care if I don't know these coaches, I'm gonna laugh, and they're gonna laugh. I'm like, oh, hey, thanks, Coach Stephen. Like, okay, cool. Hey, Coach, it doesn't matter who. Like to me, the jiu-jitsu politics, I don't care for about. I don't care for, right? All I care for is that journey is the person I roll with, and I'm for me. So if that person I can make that person's day for that role, let's do it. Right. So I know there's a lot of jujitsu politics out there, right? Hey, what this, what that, what I don't for me, I don't care, right? I care if you're a good human being and you can help people and you can help do things with jujitsu. It's just but like man, I try to joke, laugh, especially with Booker. I just texted him last 2 weeks ago and just kind of checking up on him and but yeah, no, it's just laughing and having a good time, man. It's just and you always got to and to me I think that's part of the Filipino community is fun and like you rag on each other, and that's the military way too, like certain branches rag on each other too, right? So it's like so we always like you said earlier, the crayon stuff, like okay, cool. you
I
know
mean, if we're not talking shit, that means we don't like you. So,
yeah, man. So, like I said, man, ragging at each other, I love it, man. It's because it's fun, man. It, and fun is subjective. So, whatever fun is to a lot of people. If you're at a jujitsu gym, it takes a lot of energy, time, effort. And I recommend people doing it and finding their way. Like, if you don't want to roll, if you want to do a technique, that's cool. Like, hey, as long as you step your foot on the mat, well, even in a private, hey, that's okay because like I said, some people have that trauma. I went to a school in Japan. Shout out to Benjamin. No, I can't say his last name, but he has they do the gauntlet, and I had a friend of mine go through it, and he's like, I don't like the gauntlet because it brings back trauma, So I was like, oh, hey, you know what? Hey, that's cool. So they didn't do that, right? So in other schools in Lower 48, they do the gauntlet. Some people don't do it. So like said, so having fun, man. Like I said, just around the world is awesome. Everyone who does it, it's a good thing. But like I said, it also can bring out traumas. It can. It could be a bad thing. It could
I mean,
be
you're
well.
literally
You know?
strangling each other. I mean,
Yeah, you are right. You are strangling and choking the life or imposing your will upon another human being, but yet you shake hands and hug after. Like there's a
yeah.
weird chemistry behind that. Like tried choking me for 6 minutes or 7 minutes or 3 minutes, and then after the round's over, I'm gonna say thank you. There is an awkwardness there. Especially even in Muay Thai, even in any martial arts, like you just hit me with the stick in my face, and I'm gonna thank you after that round.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Yes.
you just,
Yes.
you just, you just, you just. Abanico, my fan, my face. Now there's a welt on my face, and Abanico is everyone was on listening is as a fan, is a fan term motion and one time I had to go to work. There's a big welt on my face. Like, how do you explain this? How do you explain a welt on your face to a coworker or yet someone you're dating? So just going out in public, So it's like I asked for this. So it's
I
just
mean, there,
it,
there could be worse things that one gets into. I mean, we could be into meth. I mean,
hey, yeah. Hey, that's a big issue too. But yeah, no, man. Um,
so going back, we
Right.
missed your worst or your least favorite
Ah,
jujitsu story because that's
dude.
going to inform like how'd you move forward through it, how'd you get through it.
Dude, jujitsu. Love and hate at the same time, right? Dude, the worst times of jujitsu. Man. So, going through so I have a 3-year-old, and Jordan knows this too, right? Jordan, I think I came to him. When was at Legacy at the time? And going through pregnancy with my wife, it was tough. It was tough. Just overall, any pregnancy, it's a blessing to have kids, and whoever have kids, or if you don't, hey, that's awesome too. If you have dogs, animals that rely on you, awesome. I think we're going through a rough time. It's just because of the pregnancy, right? Hormones and I needed to sit down to sit down somewhere. I need a safe space. And so I rolled with a brand new person, and my aggression came out. Like I was just like, "Ugh," and I kind of felt that, and I leaned, I tiled it back. I was like, just take the armbar, whatever it is, and so I just sat there in the corner, and I started crying. Just started crying, and Jordan saw that. He's like, "What's wrong?" I don't know if I could do this. Be a dad, and he's just, "You'll be fine." And then he's just kind of talked me through become a dad because he has a daughter too, right? So, um, uh, and we walk through techniques and stuff like that. But I think when you see someone struggle through jujitsu, and you don't know their internals, right? So a lot of people, there are signs of internal depression that we don't see, right? When you're rolling with someone and they're done and they just look at you like craziness, man, you okay? Like, yeah, that was rough. It's like, I'm sorry. Like, can we go over that together? Like, so that's why now when I do that, when I go out, when I, turn it up with somebody, I go with them again and ask them, what was rough for you? Oh, Marvin, that neon belly was rough. I was like, okay, let's go over this. So I think, like I said, that was the worst time going through because like just ups and downs of being pregnant, like my wife being pregnant. And Jordan walked me through it, like I said. To push through, I learned that going through that and understanding that when people see those micro depressions, the micro behaviors I see, when I like I said, when I go turn it up and do neon belly real hard, or someone's trying to do neon belly me real hard, or I'm doing it to somebody, and when they're done and they look like dazed and confused, it's like, hey, you okay? That was rough. I was like, okay, what was rough for you? What's going on? And then I understand what was rough and getting their mentality. I'm like, well, was it rough because of this, or was it rough because of pressure? Was it rough because of that? Oh, Marvin, it was because of that. Oh, okay, let's go. Let's dial in. So I wouldn't leave that person just to go like to the next role. No, I talk to them and be like, okay, how was this rough for you? Because I was once there. So, um, I just changed my perspective in jiu-jitsu when Jordan talked to me at that moment. Um, so it changed the way I look at things.
Okay, so with that, have you ever had an experience like that with FMA, with your previous instructors?
Um, so
Uh,
previous instructors, so with like I said, Domingo is a awesome guy, man. And those guys up top in San Diego, Babao Arnis Academy, good guys. Classic Escrima, good group. I remember we did the hockey mask and those gloves. You know that we did. You know that right? So I wasn't ready. I was my first. I was shaking. I was like I was, and we had some random guy I don't know from another school. He just had it in the back, literally in the backyard, just old school. Like he's like, Marvin, do what we talked about. I was like, what? And like I just froze. Like, what we talk about? Like, I don't know what to do. So he just everything I knew just froze, and so we started, and it hit, um, and then I just knowing the fact that you can freeze like just because you don't know what to expect, right? So when you're going through that, like I just didn't. I thought we were training, so like okay, hey, no Marvin. So when I got that first hit, I was like, okay, it's game time. And so the initial like, okay, it's time. That was one of a good head shaker. Like, okay, the reset button's happening. And then it went from freeze to fight. Um, but that was one of like what just happened. And I was really young at the time, so but yeah, so I remember that it was like it was yesterday.
well, I mean, it's definitely left its mark on you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's interesting though, coming from the military into combat sports, there is obviously there's a lot of similarities in this culture, is training,
Yeah.
the reasons why, etc. But also like some of those soft, like psychological skills of dealing with the four F's of being hijacked into fight, flight, freeze, fail, and I
Mhm.
have a fifth one, fucked. So there's that.
Yeah, yeah.
But point being is like we're faced with that in as a profession of arms, dealing with the absolute ramifications of all of those things, and because
Yeah.
all those things do happen. And so there is this interesting lack of transition from the
Mhm.
military with those lessons where the absolute consequences, death, destruction, mayhem, and then turning into combat sports or martial arts, because you'll still see fight, fight, freeze, fail, fucked,
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
mat, in the ring, in the cage. But it
You
is
will.
interesting
Yeah.
how like the psychology of where if you're a combat veteran, if you're military, whatever, and you've been trained to deal with that, have dealt with it, and have enough like reads, leads, and responses to deal with that. But you do something contextually different, like combat sports,
Mm-hmm.
and you start all over again
Yeah.
and dealing with those situations. So
Yeah. No, completely. And like I used to, those five F's, and then um, they lead to, whew, they and that it can be trained. I like that last one. He said you're fucked. So that was a good one.
the more politically correct term, the term that I use for like when I present things like at the college when I used to do that, is failure beyond your control.
That sounds cool, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, but overall, man, like I said, that's just uh like people said, you just saved my life. No, no, yeah, oh, yeah, it's kind of terminology. It's like no, yeah, it has. Like so knowing the fact that who was teaching it and the degree of teaching can also save your life too. It's like there are a lot of black belts who don't know, like they because they this that this right. So knowledge is like I said, it's depending on the knowledge and how it's passed and how it's given. And I always tell people that all the time. There are a lot of arts that like, okay, that doesn't look right, and like that movement doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a perfect expert, but so when I see that, I was like, I don't want to learn from that guy. So just like I said, man. But overall, for me, I think any martial arts is a good expression, no matter what you do, and it's inspiration and how to inspire. That's the key. That's the hardest thing is to how to inspire other students who have never done FMA or how to do it right. Because the natural movement of a body and how it moves here, the triangle movement of to the shoulder to the limb, explaining that to non FMAers, non people who do FMA, I think it's exciting. It's huge for me. Like I have friends and family. We go over the Sabang Labo and PTK, and that's a drill with open hands. And so like, oh, really? Like, yeah, that's a. And so we'll do. I'll do it at a party. Like, hey, check this out. Just like we're talking about martial arts. They're like, no, Chuck, we'll do this. Let's just try this drill and see if you can catch me, and I'll make it fun. Like I put $5 down. I'm like, hey, let's see if you can touch me here. Use your this and 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 I'll make it fun. And like I said, I always try to make things fun and life happy go lucky, because like in martial arts, like some of the stuff it's meant to death. Like, but knowing the fact if it's second nature to breathe, knowing that how to use your hand here, this is second nature to you. I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. Even doing this is a good second nature. Blocking your head, using your elbow as a frame, even jujitsu, right? But even FMA, that's a good, this that. So even this is a second nature is a good habitual thing to do. So
Awesome. So we have a couple of comments that popped up. Girl Errol from New
oh
Jersey with Basileros Kali. He says hi. It's late there.
hey,
Jimmy Squires, he's actually old school assistant coach of mine down here in Homer. He says hi.
what's up, Jimmy?
Yeah, good dude. Also an Army veteran.
Hey, what's going on?
And this gentleman, Yamil Rivera, he's
Hey,
asked if we've
Yamal
done
is
Krav Maga.
yeah, it's my buddy right there, my brother. Krav Maga is real martial arts. I have not done Krav. I've I've trained in it. It depends. So like Krav in Israel and Krav here are two different things. People just like Muay Thai in America and Muay Thai in Thailand, two different things. So I've never tried. You have to make that distinction a lot, because people try to bring it over, and the culture is different. Because, in example, in Filipino martial arts, in the Philippines, it it's different than the Philippines and America, and just like in Israel, Krav Maga, it's different. And same Thailand, and so I've never learned Krav Maga, but I like did some stuff with it and tried some stuff with it, but I've never actually trained under an art a discipline of Krav Maga. Yeah, Mima's my boy.
Nice. Well, for my response, I've actually trained quite a bit in Krav Maga.
Yep.
I went through a 40-hour certification
Sweet.
course when I was in my early 20s. I actually got
Yep.
it through the reserves because I was attached to
Ooh.
a military police battalion.
Okay.
So one of the NCOs there was like, "Hey, we're going to do a Krav weekend. This is totally not for the unit, but we're all going, and you're going to go too." So yeah, so we did that for 2 weeks. That was a 40-hour course. That was very straightforward Krav Maga,
Yep.
as to like
Cool.
we're doing this for combat application, and it had the more of the law enforcement approach to it rather than
Yep.
the combat application direct, as in you from the line infantry approach to it. So there's a
Yep.
distinction between
Cool.
law enforcement Krav and combat Krav. Then the other one, I mean, I trained here in Homer actually underneath a gentleman named Ken Domella for 5 years.
Yeah.
And he was also a Krav Maga instructor.
Yep.
I actually helped teach that for a while. But yeah, there's some great stuff in Krav, just like Kajukembo. They took
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that works all over the place,
Yeah.
made it efficient and effective for themselves.
Good.
And what people don't understand with Krav or these military combat systems is that they're designed to make you lethally efficient
Yeah.
within a few weeks, or actually not even necessarily lethally efficient. It's the idea of you have to fight tonight, because you in the approach of the combatives world, like you're teaching a line unit. Like I was a combatives instructor for the Army as well, and like you only have a block of time, like a small block of time to dedicate to training your soldiers, and you're training a lot of people. And so you don't have the nuances of like spending day in and day out, holding pads, running drills, getting the rolls in, getting your hand-eye coordination, running the FMA flow drills. Like you just don't have that. So you have to distill down simple things that you can do quite effectively. Like there are 5 things.
Yeah.
Be hyper aggressive with it, and hope and make sure that they maintain that aggression moving forward. So that's what Krav did a lot. That's what Army Combatives does a lot. That's what MCMAP does a lot, is gives you a handful of things to be good, to be better at, and just be really fucking aggressive at it. So, yeah. No, a lot of people crap on Krav now because it's turned the way of the McDojo, like many things have. Yeah, certain circles of it have, but yeah, Krov's legit. At least
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
depending
yeah,
on which system and who you train with. I'll just put it that way.
yeah. Like yeah, Krav. I've seen, like I said, a couple things. I've met people under Krav, but like I said, never trained in it. It seems like a good system to learn, and I know that in Israel you have to learn a certain amount of years under Krav, or you have to go through that. So, uh, and it's really deadly too. They go through like neighborhoods with it, and so it's like I said, any martial arts you think it's lethal, and it's doable, right? So I always tell people, like, if it's effective in your own way, if you're in a grocery store and you have Krav, hey, that's cool. Hey, whatever that's do it for your life, your family, and for your longevity. Go and do it, right? That's that's what's the martial arts for. It's just like to preserve your family and your life. So
Yeah, the mentality of never again and default aggression is one of the key things that I've taken away from systems like Krav Maga,
mm,
and other military combative systems is default aggression.
yeah.
Because there's a lot to be said about that. Because even like on the mat, okay, if you're hyper aggressive, you
Oh,
you know the
interesting.
guys and gals who are hyper aggressive on the mat, and you know how things go with them.
Oh
So
my
you
goodness.
have to suffer through it. And
Yeah.
the other part about that is that they go there's a 10 and there's 5 steps above that, and so dealing with that level of aggression for somebody who's caught off guard, lost the initiative, lost control of the battle space, like you're way behind the power curve. And that's the thing that I have
Right.
found with systems like Krav is that they're going to ratchet up to beyond 10 and you're catching up afterwards. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, so again, because this is an FMA show, we're
Yeah, it's
going
dope,
all over
man.
the place.
Yeah,
How
it's cool. It's cool.
so have you introduced FMA to your jiu-jitsu community?
Um, to my jujitsu community, to people who do I jujitsu with, they, uh, I think a lot of jujitsu guys, and a lot of gals and whoever in my community, they aren't. Some people are open, some people aren't. I think you have to be in the right mindset to learn FMA. I have not tried. Chester tried a couple times for Belinta Walk. It just wasn't as successful. There's someone who does it here, but I have not. I have not do a hybrid with jujitsu and FMA, especially in Anchorage. Because, like I said, it's the only strict jujitsu school, so I can, but I usually do FMA in my garage. When I always teach people who are seeking me. I don't seek out FMA people who, oh, hey, yeah, you want. So, like I said, during parties, like, hey, hey, Tito Marv, like Uncle Marv, well, what do what do you think about da 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 da? So uh, I haven't sought out anything. People usually just talk to me about it, and I go on a deep rabbit hole, and then next thing you know, we're doing drills. Like we're doing hand drills. We're doing this. We're doing dismemberment elbow stuff. I'm like, oh man, I went down a rabbit hole at a birthday.
I mean, there could be worse things that happen. There's worse habits that a Tito could have at a birthday party. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't sought it out and I haven't tried. Because like I said, usually it's just not as marketed. And if I bring sticks to to just this school, be like, Marlon, what in the world? It's dancing sticks. So it's just they're just gonna look at me like, it's like, I know. And so just some people just aren't as open. I haven't tried. But like I said, there are Filipino festivals we can try. I haven't even I haven't explored that yet because, like I said, I just don't have enough people who are engaged in the Filipino martial art community to do a demo with me, or we can try to like, hey, let's do an open demo community, or hey, let's do a bladed this, and so just I haven't. So
Sounds like I need to drag Cooper up to Anchorage with me sometime and do a thing. So
yeah, yeah. Who's Cooper?
Cooper is my primary minion. We always as stereotypes, for every Filipino instructor, they always have their big white guy, Uke. Cooper's
Yeah,
fine. So
you're right. You're right. That you're not gonna lie to you. I did you a couple of
but yeah, Cooper's
yeah,
as a
you're right. You're right.
student for like 10 years, and now he's more or less a training partner. Actually, no, that's what he is. He's just straight up my training partner. But yeah,
Uki, yeah.
but yeah.
He's your Uki, and do whatever you want to try. He was like, let's try this. I was like, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, yeah. He's the subject of all my bad ideas. I'll just put it that way.
I like that. Hey, bad ideas, and then when you're in that situation, like, oh, we tried that and it worked. Um, and certain like weird scenarios, like I remember we'd go to restaurants, and then like one of the instructors, like it was in San Diego, we would do drills in the bathroom because it was so close. Like because in real life scenario would like we wash our hands together or whatever, and they're like Marvin, and they're like oh, and they're like okay, try this. So just something real fast, something too crazy, not gonna drill the bad, but like because in a real scenario he would tell me like Marvin, we're not gonna be always gonna be in a garage. You're gonna be in a club, you're gonna be in a bar, you're gonna be this that this. I was like, you are right. You're not gonna be always on your right side mind when you do this stuff. So I was like, you are right. So I got used to doing things outside of the ordinary situation, um like using the skills at a bar. Sometimes I had to use it even when you're drunk with friends and someone's doing this. I didn't know what I was doing. I was drunk, but like the movement was there. So just something like that. But that like FMA has that this drilled in my system, and like knowing my elbows are even when you're having a couple of drinks at the house, or hey, this can do this can move here, or hey, you defang the snake. Like what snake? I'm like, okay, oh, hold on, I forgot. Like hold on, let's do this, wrap around this hand, and then you disassemble this hand. Like so it's just the mechanics it's exciting for me. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, I want to be really cognizant of your time. We started
yeah, no,
early, but is there
yeah,
anything
man.
that you want to go over before if beforehand if we close this out? So
No, just going over like I'm. Thank you for like the invite, man. Like it's awesome. The FMA, especially in Alaska, it is real little, and like I thank you for what you're doing, man, and then interviewing other people, and there are other people. I can give you more people you can talk to about who are practicing FMA too, in Alaska. There's some people I know who do Cockroach, and then Villa. I just have to find. I know there's one of them. I have to text them again. But I have to double check. But yeah,
yeah,
no,
that'd
man,
be
thank you for this opportunity, just expressing my voice, and because a lot of people don't know my background um and what this is and what FMA is, or what Kajukembo is, what Kali in general is. It's really dangerous. It's a dangerous art when it's taught real well. Like it's real. Like man, it's really disabling with a lot of people. And so teaching it and expressing yourself, and it's like, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so keeping the culture alive.
awesome. Well, I mean, we have a small community. Let's make it stronger, make it more connected. Yeah, definitely get me linked up with those other FMAers here in the state because I would love to chat with them for one, and love to tell their stories because again, with in the FMA community, the names that are big they are known, but for those who are up and coming, I mean, they got a story too. So the show isn't always dedicated for the instructors. There's a lot of us that are just still coming up who also have their own interesting insights, goals, and stories that they can bring to the overall beauty that is our community. So yeah, I'm glad to celebrate them. So and to include yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, appreciate it. Like I said, thanks for like I said, Domingo Agnes, the classical screamer group that I'm a part of. Thank you guys. Like I said, I talked to them, and anyone who practices FMA, keep practicing, and please inspire others when you can through martial arts, even through anything, striking, kickboxing, Muay Thai. That's any type of martial art, especially in FMA too. So, just like I said, man, just whoever's listening.
awesome. Actually, let's do this
Yes,
because
sir.
we're both in the same state and we both belong to the same school. So let's bring up Jordan here.
Oh snap, my
Oh,
man.
he's teaching. I'm saying let's bring up his schools here. Let's
Oh,
see about that.
oh, the schools in Anchorage, or just
Yeah,
overall?
so yeah, I'm gonna bring up that, just show that there. So one sec.
Yeah,
Because for you, I couldn't find any like social media specific, like this is me as an FMA page, because all
yeah,
your
yeah,
shit is private.
yeah,
So
yeah,
in the
yeah,
meantime, here is Southside Jiu Jitsu up in
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anchorage. Definitely go check it out. There's a lot of, again, people going back and forth between Anchorage, Homer, and all over the state. Because so
Yeah, yeah,
the jiu-jitsu community here is really, really tight. So you
yes.
get everybody gets to play with that. Let's see. Let's bring up Hold Fast.
Hold fast. Yep.
This
Awesome.
is where I train out of down here in Homer. And yeah, and Jordan's got classes 5 days a week down here now. Have a great
Oh yeah,
kids camp
easy.
going.
Yeah, is he there for permanently now, or is it
He's still trying to figure it out. Like Sonia and Aniela are down here, but like he's still doing the back and forth thing.
Nice, nice. Well, that's an awesome family.
Yeah.
They're good people, man. I've known them for a long time. Like I said, they're really good people. I've known Anyala when she was tiny, tiny. I have pictures of her when she was tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then yeah. So this, if you ever see Jordan again, it's like, hey, I spoke to Marv. I'm like, what? So just like I'm pretty animated when it comes to martial arts and jujitsu, judo, anything that's like improving oneself, right? That just
Mm-hmm.
that 1% a day. That's just so I get excited. I get really animated. So it's really fun for me.
Yeah. No, it's great
So
because that energy is infectious and that energy is great and it's genuine. And so we need that because again, getting strangled on the mat sucks. Getting hit in the face with a stick sucks. It
man,
just does.
you're
I don't care.
telling me, man, growing up in that like, man, dude, I think I had to get. I remember getting choked out by a paper cutter choke, and they had to shake my legs,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then all I saw was like two brown belts, and then Jordan was upside down. I was like, "Hey, Marv, you good?" I was like, "I think I saw Jesus." Like, well, Jesus says to get back up, and get training. I was like, "Okay, okay, I will." So like me and him have sometimes like it's just like laughing times because like man it's just fun, man. Like you just gotta make it fun, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing the fact that no matter what art, jujitsu, judo, FMA, and I like I said, I do keep stuff private. It's because it's just there are things about my life I need to keep private,
Yeah, that's fair.
um but yeah, so but like Jordan knows the times we be laughing, joking around, and it's even on the mats, like off the mats too. That's why I am. It's because, like I said, it is infectious, and you smile. That smile, that roll can make someone's day.
Yep.
I rolled last week here on base. So on base, I help the Warrior Combat Academy here. Jay Bear. It's free for service members.
Mm-hmm.
I help. There's a uh, tenth planet Jiu Jitsu guy, Jose. Shout out to him, and then all the Faltoli brothers. They run it also. So I rolled him Noki over there. But so like I said, it's awesome. Just kind of always want to go back to the community that's to help me get started. So, but someone told me when I was rolling with them, he's like, I needed that. I needed
Mm-hmm.
that role, Marv. I was like, well, why? For what? I was about to go do do bad things to myself after this. I was like, no, 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 no. But I needed that role with you. So it's just because. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Warrior Combat Academy. Yep. So
That's beautiful.
we help service members. We help anyone that's on base, and it's free. We all volunteer. We all
Nice.
volunteer our time. So we have mats. We have space. We have coaches. We're gonna have coaches come up in lower 48. So like I said, but there are soldiers who don't know how to roll.
Oh yeah,
Um,
dude. So
man, so it's
we're gonna
like
go down this. So I didn't get into jujitsu really. I wasn't really introduced to jujitsu until I got in the army, and so this is 19 years old. Like I didn't grow
yeah,
up wrestling. I mean, I
yeah,
I wrestled because I have brothers, I have cousins, I got in fights, but like I
yeah.
was never in a singlet on the mat. Was not a wrestler. I punched the shit out of people. Was a boxer and done the striking stuff, but like as a grappler, I did not get into jujitsu realistically
Yeah.
until the army. I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, the only other thing that could allow me to hang was I had a judo background because I had a blue belt in judo when I was 16, but
Yeah.
still not enough. So getting into the army with none of this and then doing combatives, it's like, okay, what is this? I mean, I understand kind of, but I suck at this. So like this past year and a half has been my real serious dedication to jujitsu because I have such
Okay.
availability of it now. But yeah, there's so many soldiers who can't fight, just period. Because
Yes.
just for one, everybody had one of the mistakes of the stereotype of the soldier is everybody's John Wick because everybody watches terrible movies from the 80s. But realistically, that's not your job. Your job
Yeah.
is not, if you are going hands on and a multi threat level combined arms situation on
Yes.
the battlefield, you really fucked up. Something is really, really wrong. So it's like I've stated this on the show multiple times. If I'm using FMA in warfare, I fucked up because
Yeah.
there's a whole other skill set and tools that were available to me that
Mhm.
should have used first
Yeah.
before pulling out my knife and doing a palisade drill. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I was the same thing, man. There's like levels of threat and levels of violence. You can use violence just through words, right? So like you're exactly, affirmation should be your last recommend. Your weapon it should be your last person, last thing, right? And you can use words. It's just layers of circles of security, right? So you can use words. You can use just eye contact. You can use things like, just little things that body behavior can do things a lot. It just even being in the same room as somebody, they don't have to talk. That energy, like man, like I've been in a room where when I was in Japan with with was a dangerous person. Like, but I could just feel his energy. You could just feel it. You know when someone's a boss by this guy's real. Like, he doesn't have to talk. And then it was a friend of a friend, and we had lunch together, and kind of told me a story, and I was like, yeah, I could see, I could feel, even without a word, I know, like you just know that, like just being in a scenario with someone, or even being in the same car with someone. I think people don't read that a lot. And those things need to be taught, right? Like those layers of, like I said, if you use FMA last, that's a bad idea. But like knowing that, hey, I'm in a bad zone. I need to go. Like so, but yeah, you're right. Like I completely agree with you, man. Like
Uh, I mean, it's those soft skills that aren't sexy really about understanding like what is threat identification, threat
huge,
analysis, where are
huge.
my exits, what are the buzzwords, situational awareness, but nobody actually really trains it. So
Yeah.
like all those things.
Um.
Yeah, but yeah, that
I,
energy. This is not necessarily to use our wonderful acronyms. That's not our BDE
yeah.
acronym. That's probably our BAMF acronym.
Yeah.
So people can look those up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like even the sense of walking of when you walk when you walk in a hurry pace, and like, or just when people walk with their phones, because I see people even here on post, they're walking and they're not paying attention to where they are. Even soldiers, like they're just doing this. So not knowing around you, and like you're just lollygagging. Oh, hey, that's cool too, but knowing the fact you gotta keep your eyes on a swivel, just walking. And so I always define people like what they're doing, how fast they're going. Oh, this guy's hands are here. I think you do the same thing, like, hey, exits. And I always look at also like shoulders, hands, eyes, eye clicks. Tonality is huge for me, knowing how to do things. So I went through an executive protection school. So when I went through that, they taught me all that stuff. So moving this, moving that, and but incorporating with FMA, with all this stuff is a huge hybrid for me. But it's awesome. Like I said, that FMA is a big bedrock to what I have, and I thank everyone who's been around me and influenced me. Um, and then trying to learn more, especially in Alaska. It's really hard to learn distantly, or and getting that expression with other coaches, like, because what you want to hurt somebody, but yet this person wants to just do this. I was like, this skill's meant to kill somebody, so let's play it as is and do this. do it this way because this is a blade. This is some arts are bladed, some arts are stick, right? Well, so it really depends on what your emphasis for, right? But some you play with blade, you won't coming back from playing with blade. There's no revive button and be like, okay, time to get up, like, like, And so when you really play with a blade, you play with a blade, like, and people don't think that way, and like, okay, well, um. I remember training FMA in my buddy's garage with Domingo. Like I said, thanks to him, would put lipstick on the bottom of plastic knives, and I think you've done the same thing, right? Yeah. Um, all major arteries, right? So in real life scenario, that's a note. You go into the hospital. So you going down, right? It's just cutting major arteries. Cutting, how many seconds does it take to bleed out, right? Less than 10, 30 seconds. So people, I don't
Depends.
think. Yeah, it depends on what artery, what or whatever you're slashing or cutting, right? But it really depends on. I think that FMA it's a it's a real dangerous, if you look at it, like, because it's a bladed art, it's a stick art, like that can really hurt somebody. But implying violence towards others, especially with an equalizer, is huge. I mean, I think
And this is where cross training is so important. Because like there's the age old, and it keeps coming up, is FMA versus BJJ. It's like
oh, there we go.
it shouldn't be versed. You put
Yeah,
them to fucking together. You put them
right.
together. You put the clinch work with the knife work. You
Yeah,
put the ground work with the knife work and see what
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
And you realize you need both.
You need
So
both.
you
Um,
need
I,
both.
I think there is an underground people who do that. They put a gun, they put like an air dart or blood, like a toy knife, and they grapple. I think
Mhm.
it's like Eastern Europe, I think, and they put like an air gun or a knife in the middle, and they go at it and they grapple with each other.
Dude,
It's a
I do this
never.
on I do this on a regular basis at the gym. So eh,
And like and then they nogi it, and then like just go from there, and it's just like, okay, cool. So really, like, and then it's just like an MMA cage, like, you're in an MMA cage and you're shirtless and it's just like an MMA fight, but you're gonna get that weapon, and they're going at it like they have MMA gloves and they put a weapon and they're really hitting each other, like it, like this is like an MMA fight. Hey, so but then once that gun's off, I think it's a CO2 gun, and once they hear CO2 gun, that guy's over until the next round. Or hey, that gun is, or that knife has already been off. The loser is bang. But they're, I think, going 100%. So like some Eastern Europe countries, they do it too. So so
lost Marvin again. Let's do this. Nope,
yeah,
didn't lose Marvin again. Thought we lost you there.
no, you're good.
Oh yeah, but yeah, we're all you FMAers out there. I preach this a lot. Cross train FMA and BJJ. They are a beautiful synergy. It's like peanut
Huge.
butter and chocolate. You just need to do it. At least,
Whoa, peanut
yeah,
butter and chocolate?
yeah,
What in
yeah.
the world? That sounds
Two
good, man.
two beautiful things separately, but you put them together. It's amazing.
Like
So
in a
again,
cup?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, anyways, for everybody, this is a little more lighthearted because why not? Why
Dude, man,
not?
I
I get
appreciate it,
so
man.
yeah. But
You
yeah,
get what?
I'm gonna drop you down. I'm gonna say my goodbyes to the audience. Just hang out in the lobby, and yeah, we'll close it out. But yeah, Marvin, thank you, homie, for the gift of your time, your energy, because it's infectious. I had a great time just cutting it up here, anyways.
Dude,
So
I'm gonna try that peanut butter and chocolate. I'm gonna be like, hey, Kurt, check this out. Just
yeah, man.
man, like, hey, man, like I said, just stay in touch through text, via, and then, like I said, I'm try to have fun, man.
Yeah. Well, come down to Homer. We got to
Oh
roll.
yeah, totally, man. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
totally. I'll totally come down. Like I said, I'll talk to the wifey and see what's up, and maybe do like a weekend thing, and then we'll go over. And like I said, man, just have fun.
Yeah, man. It'll be good. It'll be good. Well, let me drop you down, and I'll close this out.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. See you in a little
All right,
bit.
you Joe.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Shorter off the cuff, kind of quick. But I love these because we get to have fun. There's some podcasts I'm just going to sit here and like we're going to dive into some shit. Some podcasts I'm not. So this is one of those I wasn't. But yeah, Marvin's great people, high energy. We didn't really talk about FMA, and we did, but we didn't. But Jiu-Jitsu and FMA are a beautiful combination. So if you're not already training both, you should. And if you're not combining both, you really should be doing it. It adds some new levels of nuance to both systems, both approaches. So yeah, cross train, because what else are you going to do? Anyways, yeah, I will have somebody soon back on here in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure, but look out for all that stuff. And yeah, anyways, have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. I'll see you later, everybody. Bye.